All right, the sun's going down. I'm trying to do a water flow check on the new impeller. It's been 5.5 months, 6 months since I last ran it. Well, I ran it last weekend, but I was out in Oklahoma. When I came back, I tried to run it and had a couple of issues electrical. So what I did was I'm bringing a freshwater intake hose. I got a Y connector, I'll show you that, but I'm bringing freshwater intake going right into the water pump and motor. And then with this hose, this is where the freshwater intake from the outdrive will come out. Or come into the motor. So I want to test if the impeller is picking up or got something clogged when I was running over mud banks. Getting out here, hold on. Thing sits high off the ground, I can't just step in and out. Down the ladder. That's what I got as a garden hose. And so it picks up true. I have it running in a barrel for the intake. I have this garden hose is going to feed fresh water to the barrel, while this is the one that runs up to the motor. So I'm still going to have intake from the impeller with the barrel. I'm going to crank that on right now. Come on now, there it goes. Okay, so that is now running up into the boat, and you can see it coming out there. So that's going through the motor. That's going to tell me if the motor's overheating with freshwater supply. The other one is going to tell me if I'm getting freshwater intake from the outdrive. So I'm going to cover two bases at one shot. If the motor does not overheat, it overheated last time. I don't know if it's blockage in, I got a new hose going in here for freshwater intake, but I don't have one from the inside of the transom to the motor. So I'm going to see if that is the problem now, because she was running pretty good before with all the new stuff. So, all right, I'm going to turn it off for a second and jump up in there and fire it up. Now what I also had was a little ignition. I put a brand new slave solenoid on the top of the motor, and that was fine when I left. But what I did when I came back is I connected this hot wire, thinking I disconnected it before and had trouble. So now that I've disconnected that, I'm going to see I need that to give me power to start. But yeah, see, that puts power to it. Now it doesn't start, so I got an issue there in the wiring. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about that right now, because to run it last time, it might be the ignition switch itself. I got to double check the wiring. I didn't do anything to that when I parked it, so what I'm going to do is run directly to the coil and jump start it here. So I already got a wire set up. Let me put that camera there. I got to cover the gas tank so no water splashes in. This is going to get a little floppy, I think, and just don't want to add issues. So there we go. Okay, now I've got a wire down here that I was using for, let me see if I can put this in here and get a recording of. I got a wire here that I was jumping from the battery, positive side to the positive side of the coil, which is a purple wire I've got right down here. So I already know that because I've done this on this motor several times. It's like hot wire in the car. So give me a second to do this. And connect that. I just heard the buzzer go. Power's gone through. Now, I gotta find that little bit of a short. What's happening here? Now, see, I got this wire going here to the positive side of the coil, comes up here, and I hooked it to the battery positive side, so that gives me direct power to the coil. She'll be running, I can hear that buzzer going off at the helm, so this will give me direct power at the to run the motor. So now I just got to jump between the coil here, the slave cylinder, starter slave cylinder. That was better with a pair of needle nose. Hold on a second. Got them right here. Now she should start. Or try to. Going to take a minute to get the gas going. I'm seeing it coming up through the tube there. I'm running out of a 1 gallon can. I have to empty and drain the tank still. So I'm going to take a minute. Let me see if I can choke it a little bit here. There she goes. Ooh, okay. Didn't quite cold it. Little cold natured. Ooh, she's running good. See, she's pumping good water from the outdrive, so that shouldn't be the issue. Now I'm gonna let that run. The other water is pumping through the motor, so I can monitor the heat gain by how it feels out there. I'm just going to let this run. It'll run out the transom. I've got the plug out of the transom in the back, and I'll bail it out later. But she purrs nice. The motor runs good. Hopefully, because I had to rod out these manifold and risers, elbow and riser last time, that maybe when it sat, I drained them out. I took the hose off the bottom and drained them out before I left. So there was no water in it. But maybe there's some pieces that broke loose, from the issue of the boat sitting a couple of years before I got hold of it, 2.5 months, 2 years or so without it running. So maybe some of those flaky pieces of rust broke off and are stopping the water flow. So I'm getting good. That definitely shows my impeller's working right there. I'm getting good water flow, no problem. Let me go outside here. Check my temp gauge here. Right now she's not even warmed up to 100 yet. Yeah, you can see right there, not even up to 100. So I'm going to monitor that rise. She runs good, purrs great, no problems. I'm going to let her idle a little bit, then I'll rev it up just a slight bit. Oh, climbing down out of the boat again. So I got my exhaust coming out. This is staying full. Got my exhaust coming out here from the other garden hose feeding it. She's not getting warm yet. She's staying nice and cool. So the problem, don't know what the problem is. Why she overheated last time. I'm gonna have to just let it run long enough and find out why. This is the best way you can run a motor. Running a garden hose doesn't show you if your impeller's working properly because you're forcing water into the motor. If you just let the motor draw free like that, then it's just like running it in the lake. Then you're going to find out if your impeller's doing the job. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm checking the impeller flow, plus I'm checking the through the water motor flow. Yeah, it'll start running out. I'll raise the jack stand up later and empty the transom, empty the motor hold out, engine well. Right now climbing back up inside. She runs good. All right, temperature is just now coming up over 100. The alarm goes off at about 175. Now when I had it out in the lake the first time before I took it out in the lake, she was running below 175, about 168. Something like that, 167, 168. So you can see it rising up now. So the problem is that some flakes might have broke loose from inside somewhere and are clogging the flow. So worst case scenario or best case scenario is I can take it apart, get some gaskets for the risers. Climbing down in here again. Manageable system. It's filling up my engine well, but it's going to run out that half-inch plug, brass plug. So she runs good. Manifolds are staying cool, so I'm getting water flow. But problem might be that blockage up in through here, pieces that came up and blocked the flow. So it'll run cool enough for a while, but once she warms up, now the starboard side where I got my hand over there ran cool before. That wasn't as clogged. And then I'll try to edit some pictures that I took of how bad these risers were before I cleaned them out and then after. So this side's warming up more than that side. So the same thing, I might have some blockage in this one again, that it's not letting the water flow out. So it's not cooling this side of the motor enough, and that was what the issue was before I did it. So as long as the motor's running good, I will take the manifolds off and run it. She runs good. Man, this is a good running boat. Look at that. Increased flow with increased motor. Okay, so that's not an issue, but I want to let it run idle. She's got to start draining out here immediately. But that's a good thing. Now, if she keeps running, I'm just going to let it fill because I have to run my project here. It's getting dark and I don't have the time to do this. I got to park it back out back tonight or tomorrow morning. So I'm going to have time to do this a second time. So she's running up to, oh, that's looking like coming up to about 140 right now. So she's warming up. Just going to keep letting her run. Now if I get that heat warning, then I know I got blockage. I can already feel the heat difference between the port and starboard side manifolds. So I do have some kind of resistance blockage in that port side. So yep, we'll go with that. Then maybe I'll just have to buy new manifolds. Then she should be water ready after that. I may pull the motor and go ahead because I want to replace the motor adjustment. It was a little tight. I bought the alignment tool and I couldn't do it because the nuts were rusted. I couldn't adjust it, so I might pull it out, put some new nuts on that thing, cut them off, put some new ones on. And when I do that, if I do that, I'm going to have to pull the motor. I might have to pull the motor. Yeah, I will. So if I do that, then I'll go ahead and pull the transom bracket off and put an O-ring in there. So then she'll be totally rebuilt because I got all new seals and bearings in the outdrive, upper and lower, except for one. So yeah, she runs good, no doubt about it. That V6, 4.3 V6 Vortec, beautiful. Wish you were fuel injected. I've got a 95 Astro van, Chevy Astro, and it's got the same year GM motor in it. Not set up for marine, but she's fuel injected. Don't have to worry about draining the float bowls out after you run it. See that? That water's going to go up into the hull, but you know what? This is something I got to do. Okay, there's not that much difference. I can lay my hand across that. Yeah, there's a little bit of difference, maybe 5, 6, 7 degrees between port and starboard manifold. So there's a little resistance in the water flow there while it's not cooling as much on the port side. So that might be the whole issue. Okay, we're coming up to, that's where she was running when I first got her back out, after I cleaned out the manifolds and everything. So something might have broke loose because this is what it ran out while I had it in the lake running. Right at about 160, between there and 160, 170. So like 165, 168. So right now, she's rising up a little more. So I'm gonna know that it's a heat issue. as soon as that happens, as soon as that buzzer goes off, because this is where it ran. That's about 170 right there, 168, 170. So the RPM gauge is messed up. I'll have to check. It's probably a bad ground on that. No voltage there because I got it running directly from the battery. The alternator's not putting out. Oh, there it goes. All right, she's running 900 RPMs. That's just about 850 RPMs. So she's supposed to be in gear in the water at idle, running at 800 to 900, I think, something like that. I gotta look, but that's just, if she's running, she's idling just about right. Okay, she's going up to 175. The warning buzzer is going to go off here in a minute. So that's what I got, is I got a water flow issue in the manifolds. No problem with the water coming from the outdrive. It's flow through the manifolds. So I'm probably going to buy a new set of manifolds, which is like $900 to $1,000. But that should put me in the water finally. All right. I don't think it's the... It feels pretty even. Yeah, the heat gain feels pretty even from side to side. Now, if I were to rev it up, it would cool it down because it forces colder water through with the water pump on the front of the motor. Oh yeah, she's up to 180. So she's running too hot. Maybe it's a brand new thermostat, but maybe that got jammed up something. Maybe there's something in there jamming that up. All it takes is a couple of flakes in there. But okay, I'm gonna shut her down. I know what my issue is gonna be now. All I have to do is disconnect this hotline from the distributor and she'll conk out because it needs power to run without the alternator. Okay. All right, I'm signing off. I'm gonna disconnect everything, sign off, and drain everything down, wash her down a little bit. It's getting dark, so I'm into the end of my daily routine. That was the motor check. Looks like resistance and the manifolds. It's going to be a $1,000 to find out.